We gotta start off with the main story of the weekend. Yes, later on we're gonna discuss what happened today regarding Mbappe, but this was the main thing that happened this weekend. Real Madrid, they win their 15th Champions League, more than double the second place team in terms of most Champions Leagues, with AC Milan having 7. They have now doubled the second place team at +1. Remarkable achievement for this remarkable club. But when we discuss this game, it's a game that honestly was is within that first 60 minutes or so, 60 or 65 minutes, completely one-sided. It was domination by Borussia Dortmund, who just completely, especially in that first half, just outclassed Real Madrid in terms of performance on the pitch. But their problem was their finishing, not being able to get the back of the net. They created many opportunities. They got the ball out wide a lot to Madsen and Ryerson, who played in balls. No Dortmund player could get on the end of it. They had so many opportunities. They created so many chances. Adeyemi had an opportunity early on. Fulkrug had one, even though he might have been offside. Just plenty of his name Julian Brandt also had an opportunity early on. Many opportunities did this Borussia Dortmund team have to, honestly, based on the performance on the first half, you really could have, it really should have been 2, maybe 3-0. Just the way how one-sided that first half was. It was domination by Borussia Dortmund. Real Madrid, they just looked out of it. They really did, They, number one, they couldn't retain the ball for long stretches. They were passing it side to side, but nothing going forward. But number two, whenever they were able to attack and they lost the ball, they just looked in huge danger on the counter, like huge danger. Even off their own corner kicks, they would have corner kicks, and Borussia Dortmund would clear it to the first man, and the first man was on the break. And you saw with players like Adeyemi and Sancho going full on. I thought Fulkrug in that first half, his ability to play back to goal, he was very, very good in terms of the general play, but his finishing was not there. And I said before the game, for Borussia Dortmund to have any chance, 2 things needs to happen with Fulkrug's performance. He needs to play good with his back to goal, which he did. I thought he played, especially in that first half, I thought he was excellent. I thought he did a good job of retaining a few long ball opportunities for Dortmund that led to, attacks. But the second thing that I said is he had to be clinical. He had to be clinical, and he was not clinical. He had missed a glorious opportunity to hit the post, and, there was a lot of balls played in by Ryerson. It's on the right-hand side. Few for Madsen, but a lot, especially in that first half, a lot of balls played in by Ryerson, low crosses, and he just wasn't at the right place at the right time, and again, you don't take advantage of your chances, is what's gonna happen. Now when as Borussia Dortmund dominated the game, go in and out, the way that they were playing, how beautiful they were playing, it just seemed, as a person watching it from a neutral point of view, it just seemed more demoralizing as the first half went on. Because, honestly, once the first half ended and Madrid were able to escape that first half, because they escaped in that first half. Once they were able to escape 0-0, there was nowhere else for me, there was no way I saw Borussia Dortmund had any chance, because they needed to take some sort of lead, in my opinion. Maybe a multiple goal lead. I think they would have needed like a 3-goal lead to win the game, which they could have. They had the opportunities. They did. You cannot argue that. They had the opportunities, but they weren't clinical. They were not clinical. And if they make it 3-0, man, we're talking a whole different game. Real Madrid, they just really struggled in that first half. On the counterattack, they looked so weak in the counterattack. When they had the ball, there was no real cutting edge. In that first half, Vinicius, he was lively in a little bit in certain areas, but not in the dangerous areas. Rodrigo was nowhere to be seen in that first half. Jude Bellingham, he didn't really get on the ball. He was kind of drifting. in that first half, Real Madrid couldn't get a real foothold into the game, even when they had the ball, which they controlled possession throughout the game, almost at 60% possession. But when they had the ball, and especially in that first half, it was just side to side, just simple ball retention. But it comes to dynamism, there was none of that from Real Madrid. Then they come in the second half, and even in the second half to start off, it was a little bit more the same with Real Madrid in terms of really lacking that dynamism that we see with the guys like Vinicius and Rodrigo and their ability to play. And, Borussia Dortmund kept feeding off that. And the problem was it just stayed 0-0. And once it stayed 0-0, Real Madrid, they just stayed in the game and they kept going at it. It's what they do. And, it was not like they were really dominating the game once they got that first goal. It was a little cagey for that, from about the 55 to 65 to 70 minute mark. Real Madrid got a little bit more foothold to the game, drawing a few corners, and then they get the breakthrough. And the breakthrough it would be a very, very, very frustrating. For me as a Borussia Dortmund manager or a fan, I'll be very, very frustrated because you had the first corner kick opportunity by Real Madrid, exact same area at that side of the pitch on that it would be the left hand side if you're watching it from the TV, or the screen at the top of the screen, exact same corner. From that exact same area, the ball gets pinged in. Carvajal makes a near post run, exact same thing, and he slightly misses it. 5 minutes later, off of by the way, another frustrating aspect of it is the fact that, Valverde takes a shot and that ball is going miles wide, and it just happened to ricochet off Maatsen. That ended up being another corner kick opportunity. But that corner kick opportunity, they run that exact same thing with Dani Carvajal making a near post run. Keep in mind, Carvajal, probably the shortest player on the pitch. He makes the near post run. He makes the 1-0. And it's just like, they quickly cut to Edin Terzic after that goal, while Carvajal is celebrating, you can see Edin Terzic in the back. He has his hands up in frustration. It's the exact same thing that happened. And, that's just frustrating. You have to make adjustment. After that first opportunity, you have to make an adjustment. Whatever they were doing, and maybe it seemed like Real Madrid thought that was the weakness of the defense of Borussia Dortmund. If they wanted to run that play twice, if they wanted to make because it seemed like the ball was played near post and it was for Dani Carvajal. It was like kind of set up for him, not really set up for him, but it was his opportunity. And it seemed like Real Madrid did research before the game and they found like a weakness in the zone or whatever. That's what it really seemed like, because they attacked that play twice in a row, and it turned out to work and turned into a goal. And once that goal came in, it was clear there was only going to be one winner. I think Borussia Dortmund in general, their heads kind of dropped, and and it seemed like Real Madrid was going to be able to get a second, third, and fourth. It was just all Real Madrid. Borussia Dortmund players were losing the ball in bad areas of the pitch. No terms of ball retention. No terms of you never felt a threat from Borussia Dortmund. No real attack going, and Borussia Dortmund were losing the ball in horrible areas, and then Ian Maatsen ends up turning it over. The second goal, lands straight to Bellingham, who plays to Vinicius. Vinicius 2-0. He scuffs the shot, but it still goes in. It's the Real Madrid way. You don't put them out. They take advantage. And, for me, it's just what Real Madrid too. There have been so many moments, so many games over these past 3 Champions Leagues where when you thought in terms of the game in general, how the game went, they were dominated, or they were the worst team in terms of performance on the pitch, but they still ended up being the winners. You could go back all the way. Let's go back to 3 years ago when they won the Champions League. Every game in that knockout stage game that led to the entire knockout stage round, honestly, they were outperformed, in my opinion. When you look at the first game against PSG, completely outclassed for 3 of the first 4 halves. In that last half, they end up getting 2 goals. One was a goalkeeper mistake, and brought Real Madrid back in. So there you go. Chelsea. In that Chelsea game, that first leg, they played very, very well. I wouldn't say Chelsea dominated them, but Chelsea, it was kind of an even game. But Benzema was clinical, and Chelsea were able to get a goal back, and then another mistake by Mendy and Benzema again. And then in that second leg, in my opinion, Chelsea just completely outclassed Madrid in that second leg, completely dominated them, take a 2-0 lead, and then or take a 3-0 lead in that second leg, and then Kroos finds the Modric with the magic Trivela ball to Rodrigo, pushes it to extra time, and it just seemed like Chelsea ran out of gas there. But they're able to find the breakthrough in the extra time. Real Madrid move on. Then if you go back to that semifinal 2 against Manchester City, completely dominated for 179 minutes of the 180 minutes. They were completely dominated for 179 minutes. The last minute in stoppage time, they end up getting 2 goals from Rodrigo to push it to extra time. And when you get that kind of momentum going, there was only one winner in that extra time. So all 3 games in that knockout stage, they were outperformed, but they still found a breakthrough. That's the Real Madrid nature. We could go even to the final of the Champions League then by Liverpool. They were outplayed. Courtois had to have a historic final performance, or else Liverpool probably would have had their hands on the Champions League. It was just like, and then we go to last year or this year when they get outplayed by Manchester City, 30-something shots to 2 or something ridiculous, but they still find the breakthrough. Or you go and now this game against Dortmund, it's just the Real Madrid way, and it's really a testament to Ancelotti. He's done a great job on not having a system set, just a set system, but having a system set for the players that he has. He's willing to adapt, and remarkable achievement for Real Madrid, who win their 15th Champions League.